Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Animal Alliance Asia, and this is the last stream of the month, so please bring your friends because I will be making my donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count, or consider donating directly to them. I have their link in my About page here on Twitch. It's Friday, which means it's time for Chibi Friday, and we have got a very special chibi to work on. I donated my chibi caricature services to the Palomacy Pigeon Appreciation Auction. It was a fundraiser auction, and there was a winning bidder. So I'm going to be chibifying the pet of, it's actually the winner's daughter. The winner wanted to give the caricature to her daughter, and so we're going to be turning into a chibi this adorable pup named Moo Latte. And I actually have, this is going to be a unique one because I have my nice reference image of Moo Latte. But she's 15 years old now and been through quite a lot. She actually lost one of her legs to cancer. So I have a second reference image with showing how her fur and that shoulder area now is without the leg there. So I'm going to have to be using my imagination a little bit more than usual for this chibi caricature. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be quite fun. So I have my references up on my screen over here, which I know you can't see, but just so you know, when I'm looking at my reference, I'm looking in this direction. So I've got the current photo of Moo Latte, and then this other one, she's looking back. Both of them are super cute, but the lighting in the younger Moo Latte photo is more bright, and her face, the way she's looking back over her shoulder is just totally adorable. Of course, she's cute in both pictures, but so let's see. I'm gonna put her head actually up in the corner because her body in the reference is angling this way. So I want to make sure there's enough room for the body down here in this part of the image. Oh, I didn't fix my little camera so that you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so we're drawing a circle. Try to draw as light as possible. Just a circle to represent where the head will go. And then a circle for the rib cage and the torso, and another circle for the hips. It's coming back this way. And her tail in this photo too is very cute. It's a little corkscrew. I think what's happened, because I've seen this happen with my dogs, she probably had her tail down, but then she sees her human and is picking the tail up to wag, but it needs to curl up this way to wag, so the photos caught it curling up, which makes it just look like a corkscrew piggy tail. So I want to get that too. That's pretty cute. Just a little line to represent it for now. So it is this front left leg that she no longer has. So I'm just going to draw her torso sort of coming down like this. And it comes up where it meets the hips, and then her back leg is curled under her here. And comes around to meet the tail. And then the line of her, well, you can't really see the spine. The spine is more in the middle here, but this top edge just comes down fairly straight until, again, it meets the hips and you can see the bump of her back leg sticking out. And comes down, meets the tail again. Just like that. So now let's add her tail. Add it properly. Let me clean up a little bit of this before I get any further. Clean up some of these sketchy lines. Yes, that's what I wanted. It's adorable little piggy tail. I want a bigger eraser too. So now I don't need these guidelines here. So we can clean this up too. Okay. As always, I love these Japanese brand erasers because I can just tap to pick up all of the eraser dust. It sticks together. And then I just put it in my trash can. This keeps my space nice and clean. I don't like it to get all messy. It really, really distracts me, especially when the sticky eraser bits stick to your hand and stuff. Later, they find their way into your snacks or whatever. Okay, so you cannot see her other leg on this side until it pokes out in the front. So we're just going to bring the rest of the side all the way up to where the head is going to be. So let's focus on the head now. And then once the head's drawn, we can have this other leg poking out a little bit. It's nice because although her body is sort of angling in this direction, her front leg that she still has is almost horizontal. So I think it should still be visible even with the giant chibified head. So I'm going to zoom in now on this reference photo so that I can get a really good view of her head. Okay, so it's angling back this way, tilted up and back. So following the line of her body, if she was looking straight forward, she'd be looking away from the viewer. But instead, she's looking back and also sort of tilting. It's very, very cute. Okay, let's do my best to capture this. It's angle like this. And since it is a chibi, I'm going to look. This line right here, I use to place the eyes, and I feel like it's too high. For chibi, for a mammal at least, you want to lower the eyes, make them bigger. That's what makes it look cute and chibi. So I think that this height was correct for a more naturalistic proportion. We're doing chibi proportions, so let me bring that line down. Something like that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to draw a little circle here. That's where we'll add the end of her muzzle, where her nose and the front part of her mouth, because dog mouth is like three sides. So the front side of the mouth here. Then her eyes. We're just gonna draw big circles for now, so it's gonna look kind of creepy, but there's just placeholders so that I can get the positioning right, the distance between the eyes, that kind of thing. Get that right with the circles, then we'll draw the proper eyes on top. I do think I want my kneaded eraser already. So my lines are getting a little bit heavy. That's what happens whenever I get really excited while I'm sketching. It's hard to control the amount of pressure I'm putting on, and then it makes these lines a little bit too dark. So with the kneaded eraser, you can just lift up some graphite without completely losing the line. If you pat it on, if you scrub it on like this, it will erase like a normal eraser. But, well, I say normal, like a plastic eraser. That's better. There's not really a normal eraser. There. So now those guidelines are a little, they're guidelines now instead of gonna steal the show from the lines I actually want to keep. I'm actually gonna lighten up some of these other lines too. So we're gonna put ink on this. So we don't need the lines to be crazy dark in graphite. Okay. Put my eraser over here with the others. Now, I think I'll draw the overall face shape next. So it's got, maybe I'll use my, I'm remembering last time I did a pet caricature, I ended up having to redraw the face because the eyes were going this way, but the ears were going this way, and ideally they will be lined up this same horizontal line. So I already have that established with the eyes here. So I'm going to take that angle and just draw little lines. So this one is for the nose. I'm going to draw ones up here for where the ears start. Hopefully that will keep them all on that same angle. Okay, so let's see. So where the ears come out at the bottom, there's a little curve right there. Then it comes out the other direction to the cheek and curves way back in. And then we start to get those classic little folds of skin that are around the mouth for dogs. I'll leave it there for now. And then on this side, you can see where there are folds in the neck, so it's not going to be this same sort of really angular shape. So we've got, let's see, the ear starts here. It's this same level here, so I'm gonna go like this. And then it comes down a little bit, but then another wrinkle of skin because of the head turning. You know, when you, just like here on my wrist, when I turn my hand, you get all these little wrinkles of skin here. That's what's going on here with the neck. Exie, hello! How are you? Thank you for joining me! Hope you had a wonderful Friday! Yay! So glad to see you! Anything special going on? Or just chilling out, enjoying the last, what, hour of Friday for you? Okay, so I've got this little wrinkle here, and then another wrinkle I'm seeing. So it comes around and meets up. You can see more of this side of the muzzle. So we're going to bring this all the way over here. And then it comes down farther than this sort of jawline up here. So we'll say about here maybe. Oh, wonderful. Always glad to hear it. I'm good too. Thank you. Yes, I am having a great Friday so far. We had an excellent puppy school day with the trainer. We went to the park and the puppies got lots of experience seeing stranger dogs and learning how to not react. Or let's say not react, but not overreact. And Aoife, my big dog, even there was an off-leash dog. It was super calm, and it just sort of trotted over and started smelling Aoife. And at first I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? Aoife was like, oh, we're sniffing? Okay. And so they just sniffed each other, and it was very calm. So, yeah. It's been a great day so far. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I hope you enjoy your family. It's always great to have time with your grandparents too. I only have one set of grandparents left, so definitely don't stay here just for me or something. I hope you have a great time with them. Let's see. So this side, now that I've made this side of the muzzle this big, I think I need to expand it back over this way or shorten this. So let me think about which one I want to do. Making it wider does make it more chibi proportions too. So I might keep it that wide. Let me use my ruler. I'm doing the artist thing where you hold it out and you use your thumb. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to show you here, and then I'm going to do it because my reference image is over there. You hold your thumb, and you hold it out as far out from your body as you can, so your arm is as long as possible, because that has to stay the same distance. And then you measure from the edge of one reference point to the other reference point, and then you move it over to the next one. And then you see, is that the same distance, or is it bigger, or is it shorter? So I'm going to measure the left side of the front of the muzzle against the right side of the front of the muzzle. So that's what I'm doing right now. So you just hold it up so the edge is against, and it's best if you close one eye, because otherwise the dual vision that we humans are possessed of you'll just get double vision. You won't be able to measure. So it's about this far. Yeah, so it is not double, but maybe half again. This side is maybe half again as wide as this one. And so if we measure this, now we can actually measure. So it's about 1.5 centimeters here, which means this side should be 1 centimeter. So yeah, we want to move this out just a tiny bit. So that's my little art school tip for you for today. I don't do that kind of drawing technique very often, but it is so useful to know how to do, and then when you need it, you have it. That's one of those things that I'm grateful to my art education for. So even though there's so much I didn't like about it, like the different projects we had to do that were super boring, or, you know, it just teaches you art techniques. It doesn't really prepare you for a what does it take to become a professional kind of thing. They were working on that as I was getting closer to graduation. They introduced a arts entrepreneurship minor, but by then I couldn't afford more credits. So I took a couple classes from there, but I couldn't take them all. So anyway, despite the negatives, getting an art school education was definitely worth it. And you can learn these techniques. You don't have to go to university for them. It's just that university forced me to practice them in a way I never would have done if I was just teaching myself. I would have been like, oh, that's how it works? Okay, and then never use it again. It really takes practice to be able to remember, oh yeah, I have this technique, whip it out and use it. So that's what the academic part did for me. Okay, so now we're adding these little puppy wrinkles back in on this side. And I try not to add too many wrinkles, whether it's a human or a non-human animal, because it's chibi. So basically, chibi draws on our human instinct to love baby humans. So that's why having too many wrinkles, even if the subject is naturally wrinkly, doesn't work as well for chibis. just adjusting the angle of the front part of the lips here. So they're meeting a little lower. I'm really excited for this chibi. I hope I can finish it all in one go. We've got 3 hours, and Moo Latte here does have a little bit of a, let's call it a labor-intensive coat pattern, but it's mostly just black and white, and she's not fluffy. She's got the nice smooth short coat, so it might not take too long when we get to the coloring stage. Okay, so we've got the upper lip done. Now here's the bottom lip. Seems to be a little bit of a sort of a dimple. So got that there now. Cleaning up lines along the way as they become irrelevant. Okay, now time to add the nosy. She's got just a typical dog nosy shape with that line down the middle. It's kind of straight across a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call this, 45-degree angle? I think so. So that's like, wait, this, yeah, 90, 45, yeah. 45-degree angle. 2 circles for the nostrils. And attached to that little space on the side, which I learned from a documentary a long time ago, is so that they can breathe out the side of the nose, so that when they're picking up a scent, if they breathe down, it will deserve the scent. So they breathe out the sides of the nose, and that's why there's those lines on the side. Those sort of, what do you call it? It's just like a little space. The more you know, star. Okay. And the bottom part of the nose comes down. Alright. These nostrils are a little bit uneven, so let's fix that. There we go. Oh, Eva heaving a big sigh. Well. Okay. Let's clean up a little bit more. So I think everything else around the nose is fairly subtle, so I don't think I need any ink lines there, so we don't need any more guidelines in this area. Just making sure now that the top and bottom of the eyes is the same angle. Oh, yeah, it's come down a little bit farther than that. Whoop. Okay. There. Oh, hello, Gothic Valentine 72. Thank you for the first time chat. Welcome, welcome. Oh, you hadn't heard that tidbit? I've never heard it anywhere else but the whatever documentary it was on Netflix. ages ago. It's probably still there, but who knows? You know, their catalog changes all the time. But my mind was blown. They actually had close-up footage that they took in slow motion showing a dog sniffing the ground and how the puffs of that little area would open, the puff of air would come out. And you could just actually see the dirt particles moving, so. Thank you for joining me, by the way. I hope you're doing well. How are you? Okay, let's draw her eyes now. She actually has, so I've drawn these really big circle eyes, but she actually has, I think because of the sun is in her eyes, she's very well lit right now, like directly with the sun. So her eyes are a little squinty. Alright, so I think that's the general shape there. And here's the inside corner of the eye. And there's like a little, what would you call that? What do you call it on a human? My language always fails me when I'm streaming. It's called a eyelid crease. Yes. Oh, hello! Yay! So glad you can make it! Hooray! Yes, I have. I think it's amazing how they, oh wait, my hand isn't right. They lift, like they create a little ladle for themselves, right? Like that. Or is it out front ways? Is it under or over? Either way, they create a ladle and they're ladling with. I think cats do it the same way too. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you could make it to the live stream. Hooray. Thank you so much for bidding and supporting Palomacy. All right, so we're going to get this other eye. So I had been drawing it the full height of the eyes, but since she's out in the sun, we're going to make her eyes match what we're seeing in the reference photo. Ah, under. That's what I thought. Like this. This is coming out of the mouth like this. Yeah, it's so amazing. So we humans definitely could not get any use of trying to drink like that. It would not work. Of course, we are upright anyway, so it's just, it would be counterproductive for us. It's very cute. This eye actually has a sort of upward angle to the bottom eyelid, so it actually looks like a little bit happy. The way humans, when they smile, the bottom eyelid goes up. That's what it looks like is happening here, though. I think it's just a coincidence. For Moo Latte. Okay. Awesome. Sorry it's not easy to see. I don't know, I can't zoom in on. I made this little camera here. Oop. But it doesn't have any zoom on it, so it still can't get that close. It's definitely closer than the main camera. But like I said in the email, this will be up on YouTube, so if you ever want to watch it again, you can access it on a bigger screen. Oh yeah, you just said the same thing. Oh good, I'm glad you think it's cute. Yay! I'm especially glad you think so already, because sometimes it's not until the very end where you've got most of the color down and you start adding life to the eyes with the dark black pupils and then adding the little highlights on, it really starts to look like the subject. So I'm glad that even this early, it's looking cute. Yeah, clean up a little bit more here. Just helps to clean up any lines I don't need, and then I can see better what the overall effect is for when I ink it. Now let's bring this up a little bit more, a little bit rounder. I know how that is. My little dog Chappie. I don't know if you were here when I was talking about we went to our weekly dog training session, and she's an adorable brat too. So yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. We would keep we'll keep working on her manners, and meanwhile she can keep being a cute brat. Okay, so checking out these eyes now. The only thing, I think this one has gone a little farther down than this one, so I'm going to bring the bottom up a bit. What kind of pup do I have? Well, we have two mutts, basically, but we did the DNA testing after we adopted them from Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. And Aoife, my big dog, you wouldn't think it to look at her, but she's nearly 50% Rottweiler. Then the other big one, big percentage of her DNA, and this one you'd be like, oh, I can see it, is Mastiff. So that's Aoife. Chappie, she's got a similar situation where she's about half Australian cattle dog. And I can't remember what her next biggest one was, but she's got pit bull. Aoife also has pit bull. She has dachshund, and you can see the dachshund, her body is a little longer, and but she looks quite like the Australian cattle dogs, especially if you find a black and tan one. So that's Chappie. I call her my little dog, but she's more like a medium dog. Her size, she's compact, but she's really beefy. So she's full of energy and personality. Oh yeah, it's so nice. We actually went to the sanctuary and volunteered too. So they have the Best Friends Roadhouse in, I think it's Kanab, Utah, and we stayed there. It's completely, not just pet friendly, but pet welcoming, and it's a completely vegan roadhouse, so that was super great for me. And then you can go volunteer at the sanctuary, just a 5-minute drive up the road. And then we adopted these girls too, and they have this excellent program where you can do a sleepover with a pet, either just to give an adoptable pet a night with a family, you know, with a family environment just for enrichment until that pet gets adopted. Or in our case, we wanted to see if these two girls would get along. So we did the sleepover at the Roadhouse, and they totally did get along. So the rest is history. I really want to go back there and volunteer again. I'm to be honest, I'm afraid though, because I can't get more pets. We are at the limit. But if I go and volunteer, I might want to adopt another pet. You know, it's the only thing, other than budget, the only thing holding me back a little bit. But I make a small monthly donation to them because I think they do a really wonderful job. I really support their main cause, which is to get all animal shelters in the United States to a less than 10% kill rate. And that 10% is just for animals that are so sick that they can't be saved, so injured that they can't be saved. You know, something like that. Sometimes it's truly a mercy to let them go. But killing animals just because they don't have a home is too sad. And that's Best Friend's main goal. They call it no kill by 2025. So I really hope that they can reach that. If you look at their numbers too, they've been making an excellent impact. Okay, so I'm drawing the ears now. And they are slightly different. Like this one's more in shadow, but it also seems like this opening is just a tiny bit smaller, maybe. And you can see more of the top part of the ear. This one, the opening is larger, but you can't see as much of the top part of the ear. Oh, wonderful! Oh, yes, that is so wonderful. Yay! I'm so glad to hear that. Yay! Thank you, thank you. Thank you, daughter. I don't want to say anyone's names on stream unless they want me to, so I'll just say daughter for now. Here, our dog trainer is always fostering pups in this area, which is great because she's an excellent trainer. We had a different training place before, and they were all right, but they were unable to address several key areas. And this trainer's method is like, oh, it makes sense. Basically, her training method starts with the dog's psychology. So instead of treating the dog like a living machine that should be able to understand certain input, she's looking at it from how are they feeling? Are they feeling afraid? Are they acting out of fear? Are they acting, what are they acting out of? And then how can we help them? And it's working so much better. So it's great to know that she's fostering pups, because then they're getting that kind of care too and learning how to be well adjusted. Makes sense. For me, well, like, what do you think? For me, I think that the reason why is that the pet is able to experience what it's like living in a human household. It's like our girls. I did my thumbs like this because Aoife's over here and Chappie's over here. They were both street dogs, basically. They were just strays. So they'd never experienced a home life until they were brought to the sanctuary, and then they came to live with us. So this here, it has a very cute upturn right here. I want to make sure to capture that because that is super cute. So make sure to get that in there. And it sort of flops out like this. And then down like this. Oh! It's coming along. It's looking cute. Looking cute. Here's the bottom edge of the ear. And you can see a little bit of it folded right here too. Let's tidy up a bit. Oops, wrong side of my eraser. So we don't need these angle guidelines anymore. Okay, so I'm looking at the overall shape and size and the general details. Not the general details. Details, I guess. Details. So I'm seeing this little circle right here, but there's the pink patch inside of the ear. So let's indicate that with some lines. And it comes around that circle in the middle. Like there's fur all around it, and then this outside part is fur on the inside too. Oh yeah, that's a big one too. The housebroken thing. Yeah, that's true. If somebody else can explain what the pet's personality is like in a home versus in the scary shelter, because even the best shelters, I mean, it's kind of scary. There's all kinds of animals coming and going, and it's noisy, and there are all kinds of humans coming and going, and strangers all the time. Okay, now I'm satisfied with how this is looking. And I probably won't ink this in with a solid line, but I do want it there just so that I remember. I can see a little bit of the folds on the inside of the ear here. Maybe right here too. There we go. So let's do a little bit more detail work on this side. Though this ear is in shadow, so you can't really see as much, but you can definitely see the difference between the shadowy inside part of the ear and the white fur on the outside. Yeah, it's so dark I can't see. Like over here I can see some folds inside the ear. I can't see those over here, so just leave that. And let's remove some of these lines so the ear can attach properly to the head instead of looking like this separate stuck-on thing. Let's see. So she does have a distinct line down the middle of her face, as so many dogs do. But it's still fairly subtle, so I won't use ink for that. I'll do that with the marker and colored pencil later. So let's just clean this up. I think her face might be done. So her eyes... Well, maybe I'll look at the other image, because it might be nice to have... Yeah, her eyes are so dark. It's actually quite cute because they just look like a black eye with a shiny on it. So it's very, very cute. I can't see distinctly any iris color. Not saying she doesn't have it, but because of the lighting, the contrast is really high between the white fur and her eyes. So I think I will call that good for her eyes. Oh, well, for these caricatures, I use a base of Copic marker, which are alcohol-based markers. And then on top of that, for detail, I add colored pencil and then little pops of white highlight using gel pen, or what I've actually been using recently is white India ink. So those are the next steps basically. After, once I get the sketch done, it'll be black ink, then marker, colored pencil, and the white highlights. And I love that combination of the alcohol marker with the, which gives a nice smooth, there's not any texture other than the paper texture. And then the colored pencil, being this waxy material, gives texture, so it's actually really great on pets because it sort of mimics the pet's natural fuzzy texture. Unless I guess they're a hairless pet, but I've never done a hairless pet before as a chibi. Okay, so now I'm adding just the last little folds of her neck. There's a couple here, and then down here too. Whoop. I think I gotta bring them out a little bit farther. The tough thing with chibis when there's something like this is the reason why the neck is folding is because it's pushing against the body. But with a chibi, the body is so tiny that wouldn't actually be happening. So I've got to make it work with these crazy chibi proportions. I think that's pretty good. And then we will just lose some of these lines so it's not such a stark fold. We want it to be maybe subtle. So that's actually what I'm seeing in the references. It's a little bit more subtle. It's not like Shar-Pei wrinkles where they're like, like that. These deep hills and valleys. Oh, I totally recommend it. Yeah, you can just get a little, like if you'd like to create for mental health, just get one of those little small sketchbooks, something like this. You can just put it in your pocket and a little pen that slides on. I recommend pen because then with graphite, you might get it all over your hand. That's what happens with me, but with pen, it can dry faster. And then you can just bring it with you anywhere. And if you're feeling stressed and you need to refocus, you can sketch, or you're out and about and you see something that looks really cool, a building or a tree or whatever it is, and you can just whip it right out and be like, oh yeah, let's sketch that thing. And then it's so rewarding too when you fill up these little small sketchbooks and you have like a little collection over the years. I definitely recommend it. Okay, under the mouth, I've got a bit too, these wrinkles are a little too strong as well, I think. What type of pen? I would say one of these. So this is what I use for inking. I will be using them on this piece. The brand is Sakura, and there's actually one I would really recommend for field sketching like that. Let me see if I can get it out of here. I think I put it in here. Yes. So it's Pigma, which is the ink line that they use. That's the ink inside is the Pigma ink. This one is micron, which means it's their smaller tip sizes. And then the PN stands for plastic nib, and I'd really recommend that for field sketching because it's stronger and it's more durable. So I'll compare that to this one. I think these are like felt tip nibs. And if you use too heavy of a hand, the little tip goes inside of that metal sleeve there and you'll never get it back out. So you gotta have a little bit of a delicate hand with it. Not like fairy light or something, but if you're drawing in the train or something, you know, it might be bouncing around. This one has that really nice durable nib and has the good archival quality acid-free ink, so your drawings will last and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd really recommend that. There's other pens I like too, ones with brush nibs and stuff, but they can be a little tricky, so if you're just getting started, I think you just can't go wrong with the Sakura Pigma line. They have all kinds of sizes, as you can see in my little pen rack there. Okay, I'm trying to draw these wrinkles that are right next to her muzzle in a way that looks right, but isn't too much for the chibi. I'm trying to get that balance of cute. So I think what I'll do is just draw one. Ah, yeah, I think that was what I needed. Just needed to draw one. Because I've actually seen quite a few coming down from closer to her face as the muzzle comes out. But now that I've drawn only one, I think that's the way to go. Okay. Yeah, try that PN then, a plastic nib. And then you get all the benefits of the Sakura Micron, well, Sakura Pigma pens with that extra durability. So now I'm looking at what does this overall face shape look like, not necessarily compared to the reference image as much. How does it look in and of itself? I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. This angle of the face is nice, and let's see. Let's bring this corner of this eye up a little bit. Getting close to break time, but I'm also getting close to done with the pencil sketch here, so might be like yesterday, where there's perfect timing for taking a break and also being done with one step and being ready to move on to the next step. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Oh, right here we can add a line, because the ear is this curved shape, and where the front is attaching, there's a sort of dip here, and you can see that in the photo, so I want to indicate that with a line, because it doesn't just attach like right here and right here where the lines are. It's 3D, so it attaches farther forward in the head. Just like over here, you can't really see it as much though, but here there's a distinct difference. So that's why I put a line on this one. Oh, this drawing is cute, yay! I hope that's what you were responding to. Sometimes I can't remember what I said, and then I look over at the chat and I don't know what folks have responded to, so hopefully you meant the drawing. I don't know what else it would be. Okay, face is done. And the body is very nearly done anyway, but I was waiting to do her remaining foreleg until after I finished the head, because it's got a sort of, actually I'm not sure if it can be seen now because it would be coming out right here. I think it would be perfectly covered up. So let me go to the reference image that shows how her arm looks. Well, her front left side looks with her arm off, since she had to have it amputated. That's so sad that that had to happen, but in order so that she could keep living, and look at her. Well, you can't see, but she's so cute in here. She's adorable in this picture. Sweet old girl. Oh! Oh, yeah, that sounds like a perfect name. Chibi Chai has such a great ring to it, too. Chibi Chai! Chibi Chai! Oh, sounds like a small but energetic dog. She was a sweetheart. Aw, sounds like it. Chibi Chai, so cute. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to have the body be like this. Because now that I have drawn the head, I'm glad that I didn't spend time drawing the leg until after I got the head in. Because the chibi head, with my chibis, the head is as big, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, head to body. So there's just not room for this other arm to show. Like, at most, maybe there could be like a little claws sticking out, but that would have to mean that the arm was as long as the body, which doesn't make sense. So it's like the proportions of the body part are basically normal average proportions. The head is just gigantic on top of it. So I'm just, what's the term? I want to say shoring up, but that's not really what I mean. Just redrawing and verifying that these lines are how I want them. Looks like she has a little puff of fur right here, so let's get that in there. I like adding those little details like that. So it's not just a smooth bottom here, there's a little puff right near the tail. And then the way this tail very cutely is corkscrewing, because I think it's lifting off the ground to start wagging. I think maybe I'll bring this line a little bit forward because it kind of looks like her head is not attached, even though it's chibi proportions, so absolutely ridiculous, but it still wants to look like if she had a head this big, it would still attach to the body. So we're going to bring the rib cage just a little bit farther forward. Oh, that's way better. Yay! So much better. Just that little ½ centimeter makes all the difference. Okay, anything else that I would want to do with ink versus depicting with marker, colored pencil, etc. I guess I do see, especially now I'm zoomed backed out, I do see a sort of eyelid crease here. You can see one on the outside there. I had this one, but now that I'm zoomed out, it's not as obvious. We're going to take that one away. That's more chibi-like anyway. Like I said earlier, too many wrinkles is actually the antithesis of a chibi cuteness. So. Yeah. Oops, I'm throwing my stuff around. I want to change the angle of this one a little bit. Okay, something like that. Okay. I'm just looking back and forth from my drawing over to my reference image over here. So this angle is a little sharper in the reference, and I like that more, so I'm going to redraw this part. And then I think it'll be perfect timing. I mean, it's literally time for my first break of this 3-hour stream, but I think this will be the last thing I want to do, so before moving on to ink. So Yeah, that's better. That's better. Let's bring that angle up just a little bit. Let's make this one a little sharper too. Oh, really? Oh. Gotcha. Not energetic at all, despite the lineage. That's cute, though. I've never heard of that before. Most dogs are like, yeah, it's time to get rid of woohoo. Instead, she wants to be a bed bug. That's funny. No, I'm still sleepy. Let me keep sleeping. Yeah, my little dog Chappie always has to jump up on me and give me a good morning kiss when she comes out of her crate. First thing in the morning, her crate is right next to my bed. So my husband opens it up and she jumps up and licks my face before going out potty with him. Okay, I am going to go take my 5-minute break, go stretch, rest my eyes, look at something in the distance. I hope everybody else will take the opportunity to do the same, stand up and stretch. So I'm going to put on my Be Right Back screen and mute my mic, and back in 5. everyone, I'm back. I hope you all had a great break. Oh, Gothic Valentine, you love the music? Yeah, I'm so glad you love it. It's actually AI generated on Suno. So I actually got, I know that AI stuff is very controversial. We were talking about it on yesterday's stream. But for me, I got the subscription so that I could generate music on Suno, and then it's copyright me so that I can use it freely and not worry about copyright strikes on my channel. So I actually have, I don't know if I can find it, I actually have this playlist on Suno if you want to, if you ever want to listen to it another time. Here, I'll copy the link and put it in the Twitch chat. That's the playlist for the Studio Mikarts Twitch music playlist. So it just has a few songs in there. Yeah, it's very fun, actually. I have been doing challenges with my friends. We challenge each other to genres or subject matters or weird combinations of who knows what. The most recent one we did was a certain type of instrument, which was actually really hard because even though it says AI, it's not that intelligent. So it's actually a big puzzle sometimes to try to get it to make the kind of song you want. Anyway, you can make songs for free on there. It gives you enough to make like it gives you enough credits every day under a free account to make 10 songs a day. You don't own the copyright if you have a free account, but you can just have fun generating songs if you want. So I think it's quite fun. I recommend just for a fun, playful activity. When my friend sent it to me, I was like, I don't know about this. And then I actually tried it, and I'm like obsessed with it. So you should always try it before you judge it. Okay, so now I am ready to move on to the inking. So we're going to put this pencil away, but I'm going to keep my erasers out because I'm going to want them later to erase the remaining graphite. I don't think I'll need my ruler anymore. Put that away. Exactly. AI can be really stupid, but sometimes brilliant. Yeah, it's so interesting. The best song that I've ever generated on there, my friend challenged me to a 70s groove song. So that was the style of music, 70s groove. For the subject matter, I told it to make a song about dancing, singing, having fun, and being free. And it made a song about bananas. So, yeah. Accidentally brilliant. That would definitely describe that song. It was incredible, and it's one of my favorite songs I've generated on there too. So actually, now that I mentioned it, I'll put that in the chat too, just in case anyone wants to check out the Banana Boogie Bliss. It actually inspired me to create a whole playlist of I'm calling them plant-based tunes. So there's where's the chat button? There's that one. Just in case anybody wants to check out my free and fun-loving banana song accidentally. I've actually come up with my own name for what AI stands for, because AI traditionally, right, stands for artificial intelligence. But we're clearly not there yet. So I am calling it algorithmic intelligence. That is my description for what AI means for all these new programs that have come out over the past few years. Because true artificial intelligence to me, from a sci-fi standpoint, is artificial consciousness. That's what it's actually been in all the books and stuff and what I've come to expect. So we're definitely not there yet. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, my favorite thing, outline the whole drawing with a really thick line. I'm using the Sakura Pigma Graphic 1. And I love doing that for a chibi because there's no background or anything, so it helps it feel like this complete, powerful thing on its own, even though it's sort of just existing in nothingness. So it looks kind of like a sticker or something is what I always say. So we're just going to outline it. This nice thick line. I used to do this after I had done all the other inking, but eventually I realized that I save myself a lot of time if I do it first, and all the inking then stems from this instead of this having to match all of the inking that's already been done. Because I was ending up inking on top of so many lines that I had already drawn, so it was basically wasting time drawing lines twice. It's no longer. Actually, now that I'm turning this drawing around and around, I remember the paper sticks to my... I can't remember what this plastic cover is called, what the kind of plastic is. Anyway, I need my little clipboard. Little clipboard, where are you? Oh, I don't know where it is. That's what I get for leaving my room messy for so long. My studio is just a complete wreck. Well, no, it's been worse. It's definitely been worse. Here it is. Hooray! Little clipboard. So this does not stick to this. I can never remember what the plastic type is called. It's not acrylic. Vinyl. Vinyl. So I have this vinyl top. But the paper sticks to it. So now with this, I can lift this by the handle and move it easily. So back to outlining. It's really good to be able to move the drawing around instead of forcing your hand to move around into weird angles. Moving the sketchbook or the paper or the painting around gives you more control over your lines. Last little bit. Boom! Okay, so often I end up inking this line with this thick pen as well, but in this case I think I won't, because this is meant to be the neck being pushed up by the body, so this line is actually quite close to the body right here. In fact, it's right next to it. So we don't want this thicker line because the thicker line indicates more space between. So instead, let's move to, do I want to go down to an 8 or a 5? Yeah, let's do an 8. So we're going to move down into, this is back into the microns line. The 08 is the biggest one they have. We're going to go to the 08, which is like 0.5 millimeters. Yeah, it's 0.5 millimeters. I don't know why they call it 08 when it's 0.5 millimeters. It would be so much easier if they just called it 05 because it's whatever. Most other fine liner pens like this actually do. If it's 5 millimeters, the pen is called 05. Oh well, it's okay. These ones are my favorite. I've used so many other brands, but I always just come back to the Sakura ones. And I see so many other artists using them too, so it's not just me. They're just really good. These pens are really good. So what I'm doing here is making a tapered line coming from that bigger line, so that it's not just like that outside thick line is its own thing. It's part of the design of this chibi. So here's where her rib cage sort of curves up, and here's where the side of her body is visible next to her leg. So it's really nice to get that taper like that. It's thick here and down to nice thin line there. Let's use the 08 here as well. So to get the taper, I like to start from the thickest part and then move my hand down toward where I want it to be thinner. Let's see, okay, so this is a dark part of her mouth. Okay, I get it. Just easier to get that thinner line to happen for some reason if I'm pulling the pen towards me. And as needed, I adjust the drawing on the clipboard so that my hand's not being blocked by the clip part. And I think her eyes next. One eye. Boop. Two eyes. All right, the rest of the lines I'm going to use the 05. I don't think there's any lines I really need to go smaller than that for, but we'll see. Hold on a sec, I want to get a drink of water. Suddenly feeling thirsty. I've got my shaker bottle with water in it. And the dregs of my smoothie, that's why I shake it. Refreshed. I'm refreshed. Okay, there's a couple lines down here I don't want to forget for this cute curly Q tail. And let's get the nosy. Boop. A little line down the middle. And the bottom edges. Nice. Now let's get these inner corners of the eyes. And these little eyelid creases. Now I think it's just the insides of the ears. Well, not just the insides, the details on the ears, yes. So right here is fuzzy, 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 so I'm going to indicate that with a lot of sort of hatching and angled lines. And some broken lines too to show that there's not a really strong delineation between the pink part of the ear and the white fur part of the ear. At least not everywhere. So right here where it's folded over, there actually is a really strong difference. But elsewhere it's a lot more subtle. Alright, and then this one. More fuzzy parts. Yay! Hooray! Done with the inking. At least for now, of course, we can check after we erase. So I'm going to start with my kneaded eraser because it's gentler on the paper. And because it's easier for me to erase the entire sheet, which I always like to do for craftsmanship purposes so that any stray graphite that got on my hand and then got transferred all over the paper as I was drawing, that will be picked up. The great thing with the kneaded eraser is that if it starts getting dirty where you're picking the graphite up, you just sort of fold it in on itself and you've got a clean bit again. Especially in the ears, there's a lot of leftover graphite that wasn't covered by ink because I kept redrawing to get the proportions and shapes right. Are smooth coated pets easier to draw? I think that they take less time, but as far as the cognitive effort goes, it's the same. So they're definitely faster because you've just got to add a lot more. That said though, the last pet caricature I did a few weeks ago was a short-haired, smooth-coated dog, but it was a brindle pattern. So that took a lot longer than usual because there was so many different colors that needed to go in and layering that needed to happen to get that brindle effect. So it also depends. Definitely dogs with a single color coat, and the closer to white, because the paper is white, the less time to. So black coated dogs have surprised me in the past. I'm like, wow, this is taking a lot of marker and colored pencil because they've got lots of shine on them and you can really see these individual strands of glittering fur, and then there's the really dark fur that's like not catching any light, and yeah, so it depends. And I don't remember if I ever did a brindle coat before. I felt like I was figuring it out on the fly as I live stream all of these. So I was thinking out loud a lot during those streams. I was like, well, I think I could do it like this, and I probably do this next, and it worked out. So I was very happy with the end result. Okay, I'm done with the kneaded eraser, so I'm just going to put it away. I love this brand, the Faber-Castell ones that come in this little case. Because then if it ever dries out and you just have to get a new one, which will take forever because it's in this case that keeps it from drying out, but also keeps it from getting like dust and pet hairs and stuff in it. Or sticking to your pencil bag, what have you. Okay, now I'm going to take a plastic eraser and tackle any remaining lines. You can't get everything off when you sketch with graphite, at least the way I do it. But the cleaner you can get it at this point, the better it will look in the end. So once you put the alcohol marker on top, you can't erase it away anymore, the graphite. Especially since we've got lots of white patches on Moo Latte's fur. Those would be areas where the graphite would really show through if I can't get rid of it. Which is not usually a problem. Usually just sort of fades into the piece. Just becomes a part of the tapestry. But my art teachers in high school really instilled in me a sense of craftsmanship. I remember my one teacher would specifically have a separate score that was part of your overall grade that had to do with craftsmanship. Like, did you turn in a drawing that's covered in fingerprints and they're not part of the piece, you know? I'm very grateful for it because I'm always happy with the end result. I think I got it all, but there's so many eraser bits that I gotta swipe those off. So I use my swipey brush, swipe these into the trash can. Sometimes they stick to the page. Yep, here's one. So I have to double check and make sure it actually got swiped off. Okay. I'm just giving it a really close look. I think this is good. Okay. Hooray! Done with ink, at least until I sign it at the end. So put the pens away, put the erasers away. Actually, I'm completely done with my drawing kit for today. So I'm gonna need room for my markers. Put that over there. Get my swatch book. Okay, got my marker swatch book. So with markers, like with watercolor, it's best to always start with the lightest possible color. Interestingly, the reference that I'm working from, the photo reference, is so brightly lit that there are actually some pure white areas, especially right here, this triangle on her face. So, contrary to usual, I'm not going to color her completely in with like a light gray. That's what I would normally do for a white fur animal, is do some sort of light gray. There's some areas I do want to keep as white as the paper, but I'll still start with a gray color anyway, though. It's just it's going to be slightly different from my normal procedure. I have 4 grays to choose from. Trying to decide. It's definitely not cool. It's just way too cool. This image is warmer Because the sun is out, so it's definitely warmer. Even the neutral gray, though, still seems a little bit too cool. So I'm feeling these toner grays are nice. And I look at these, and then I look over here at my reference image, and I'll probably use them. Although her spots are... Gothic Valentine, if you're still there, would you say her spots are black or dark brown? I want to decide whether I should maybe use the warm grays for the spots, because they're looking a little bit brown, but maybe that's just the sunlight being so intense. At the very least, I know I'll start with this toner gray. So I'll get that out. I'll just start with, I'll get out T1 and T3 to start with. Toner gray 1 and toner gray 3. Oh, they're very, very dark brown. Okay. Then yeah, I think I'll do toner gray for the white fur. So just this, basically this stuff. We won't need to go down to here, but then use these warm grays for the spots. Thank you. That was very helpful. That's so nice when I can ask the person. I think that's what happened with my last Chibi Caricature too, because it was a gift from my friend and he was able to join so I could ask him questions. So, do I want to start from the top or start from the bottom? Since I'm left-handed, if I start from the top, it'll still be slightly damp as I move down. That's not usually a problem, but I'm always worried about tracking, you know, getting some color on my finger and tracking it along. So I think I'll start down here. So these markers have 2 tips. I'm going to use the smaller bullet tip to start. This part of her tail is white, so just add that little bit gray on there. So the areas of her body where I'm seeing that super, super bright sunlit white is right here in the middle of her back, on her legs, which this one wouldn't be visible anyway, and this one is no longer there, so we don't have to worry about that. And then also this corner. Oh, gotcha. They usually look black, but in the sun they look brown. Okay. That's just like my black kitty that we used to have forever. And then he got old and passed away, but he looked so black, but then if he sat in the sun, it was like, where's Kipa? No, he turned into a brown cat. So I pointed out those parts, not just for anybody watching, but also for me to remember, leave this part super white. But down here is, oh, and this leg right here is catching a ton of light too, so it's like right here. And even if there's going to be black on top of here, or this super dark warm gray, I'm just putting the lighter gray color anyway, just because it's easier to just color the whole thing with the light color and then to come back in with the dark color on top of it. Alright, so we're leaving that really bright patch right there. Yeah. Another instance of that. It's not exactly the same thing, but my cat, we have a cat and most of her fur is white. She's got like spots, and in the spots is tabby, like gray tabby stripes. But say the most recent instance was my husband had a white hoodie on, and then Kiki, our cat, was laying on him, And she looked yellow compared to the white hoodies. That was super weird. They look bright white, and then you put them next to like some bleached cotton thing, and it's like, oh, not exactly. Okay, so I got that line down the middle of the forehead, but also most of the face is white, except is that super bright white, like right here. But there's a little bit here that could use some of this color. So I'm going to, since this is such a big area, I'm going to switch to the big chisel tip. Yep. It's so surprising. I have seen it before. Seen it happen before. That comparison of colors making the pet look different color, but it's not what your brain expects. And over here, I think we'll make it this color too. And go back to the smaller end for inside the ear. Not all the way inside, just the fur parts that are inside the ear. Because some of it is pink skin color. Ear skin color. Okay. Like most dogs, she has this darker part between her nose and her mouth, and a little bit around the nose too. Down here is also darker. And let's go back to the bigger end. So this whole side is all in shadow. About here, I'd say. The bigger side allows me to work faster because alcohol markers dry really fast. And I prefer to not have too many lines due to dry marker meeting wet marker. Unless I'm doing it on purpose. That's another nice thing about pet caricatures versus human caricatures. They're usually fuzzy or fluffy, and that means even if you get those little marker lines just due to it drying too fast, since I use colored pencil on top of it, it's easy for it to just blend in and become part of the piece. We actually have a little bit sort of mottled between a really bright fur and shadowy fur here, so I'm just doing a little hatching. Same thing, just a tiny bit here too. On the nose as well. So unlike right here where it's just this super bright patch of white, over here we can see some subtle differences. It makes it look fuzzy. Okay, I think that's good for that layer of color. Do I want to go to the next darker shade, or do I want to go to the next darker shade of this gray? Or do I want to do a different color like the pink, which is pretty much, those are the three colors we've got. We've got the white fur, the black/dark brown fur, and then the pink inside the ears. Because the eyes in both photos are so dark that we're just going to do them probably the same color as the spots. Same thing with the nose. So I think let's do the pink next. So what kind of pink do we have here? This kind, or maybe a little bit more vibrant. Yeah, I think a little bit more vibrant. We're going to go all the way to the reds section. That was the earth tones section. I also have red violet. which actually might be the way to go because the ears are in shadow for the most part, the pink parts of the ears. And making shadows purple makes them seem more realistic because the sun is yellow. The opposite color of yellow is purple, and so having shadows be purple just looks right. So we'll do red violet so it has a little bit of that purple in it already. I feel like this one. Yeah, this one is the closest to what I'm seeing in the photos. Let's do that. Red violet 32. Okay. Yeah, it's just basically this whole area. And then the fur starts. Same thing on this side. This one is super shadowy, but let's get this color in there as a base color to start. If you heard a big sigh, that was Aoife, my big dog Aoife. Sometimes she sighs right after I finish saying something, and I feel like she's judging me. Even though I'm sure she's not. Am I boring you, Aoife? That's the kind of feeling that I get. Ah! She's starting to come alive. Just adding that pink in there was makes such a difference. Okay. I always get excited drawing my own chibi art, so fair warning. I'm going to get more and more pleased as I grow closer to the end of this piece. But like I always say, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't draw it, so I wouldn't spend lots of time drawing adorable chibi animals if I didn't totally love doing it. So there's a big shadow being cast in the reference photo from her head onto her body. So I'm going to sort of angle it in a little bit, because if I use the chibi size head as a reference or to indicate how big the shadow should be on the body, the whole body would be in shadow because this head is so big. So I'm just going to sort of taper it down and try to make it a sort of medium between what's actually happening in the drawing versus what's happening in the reference photo. So there's actually a little bit of light coming around the chin here. And then the ear is casting a little bump of shadow. And then the other ear too, and then it comes down the side of the body like this. Good. I do need a little bit here where the rib cage is coming up and meeting the fold of the back leg. And everything else I think is not so much shadow, well maybe a little bit right here, but it's more the meeting of the two fur colors around the spots. There's a sort of halo effect, and maybe that's just the way the camera is picking up the data for the image, but there seems to be a sort of halo around some of the spots. Alright, so what about her face? I actually feel like maybe I do want, I usually skip numbers. If I start with T1, then I'll go T3 and always do odd numbers, but now I'm looking at it, I kind of want to include the even numbers this time. So I'm going to get T2 out. Especially for the face, I feel like a little bit more subtle change in shadow would be good. So she's definitely got a big amount on this side of her face. Just realized I've been avoiding coloring her nose, but her nose is black, so let's color it in. There we go. I'm looking back and forth between the drawing and the reference image frequently to try to keep in mind any subtle changes in shadow color. Since I'm not doing just purely cell shaded, I'm sort of a hybrid between manga style coloring and more realistic style coloring. So like this bottom edge of the ear is catching a little bit of light. There's a little black fleck on here. Get off of there. Get out of here. There, got it. The same thing is happening here. The light is curving underneath her face and appearing. Just want to keep that. Switch to the smaller end of the marker. Now over here. Not only is the bottom lip just kind of dark because it's black, but the upper lips are casting some shadow too. But it's catching a little bit of light at the bottom. Same thing over here. Some of it is shadow, and then some of it is just that the fur is darker over here. Let's get more of this line down the middle of the head. I'm starting to use more and more hatching. Again, for more subtle transition between colors. So it's not super blocky and overly strong. The underside of the ear is in shadow. And let's add a little more hatching here too. I'm doing these lines as a little bit of a curve to help show that curve on the forehead. Go back. So this shadow being a really strong contrast is actually great because it's being cast directly from the head. But down here, I'm going to add a little bit of this second color to soften up the contrast between what was T1 and then T3, so we're adding T2 in the middle. Soften that up. Just like watercolor, these markers also dry lighter than what they look when they first go on. But I am happy that I decided to bring that T2 in here because this is much more like what I wanted to create, the effect I wanted to create. So now we're adding the T3. And this side, this makes sense because this side of the face is so brightly colored. Well, brightly lit, not colored, because this is white. This side of the face on the other side is equally shaded. Once again, trying to incorporate a little more of those naturalistic shades. Oh, it's almost break time. Thank goodness, because my back was starting to hurt a little bit. Perfect timing. I can go do some stretching. In 6 minutes. Go do some stretching in 6 minutes. Right here, there you can see the little corner of the mouth. So I'm going to add a tiny bit of marker right there. So it's also on this side. But that part's in so much shadow right now that I will need a much darker color eventually. Yep, she's becoming more and more three-dimensional. Just going to keep adding and adding. But now let's add a darker pink color. The color that's next to this one, RV34. I guess that's an alright next step. Let's just go ahead and just move to the neighbor color. RV34. My markers are in a rack on my bookshelf over there. That's why I always have to get up and go get them. So that I'd rather walk 4 feet over there than take these hundreds of markers and move them onto my desk all the time. So that's why I'm always getting up. And I realize that's actually really nice because my illustration work is mostly sitting around, so at least getting up every few minutes to get a new marker is good for my back. And good for the rest of my body, too. I didn't put them over there because of that, but I realized, oh, that's actually a benefit. So I'm wondering if I want a middle color here, or maybe I'll just do another layer of RV32. Because you can layer the markers to get more shading. It's very subtle though, but it also helps with blending between colors. I think I won't bother over here though because I covered the entire thing in the darker color. And this one is so dark. It's in such shadow because not only is it on the shaded side of the head, the ear is a hole that goes into the head, so it's very, very shaded. I think I'll just leave that until I get to some of the darker fur color markers, and then we'll use those to shade in there. But for this one, I think we could go one more color darker. But all of these seem a little too vibrant, so I'm going to go back to my earth tones. E for earth tones. Go to the red group. I think the red group. Maybe the yellows. So I've got reds, reddish earth tones, sort of neutral earth tones, and then yellowish. So maybe actually the neutral ones. I'm looking back and forth would be better. Let's try this E27. Just right here where it's starting to become the ear canal. And then let's blend it with that second darker pink. Well, that second color of pink. It is the darker pink, the second pink. And then let's blend it with the first pink. Oh, that's pretty good. I feel like maybe we could do a little bit more brown. Just toward the bottom here. It's going inside of the head, basically, the ear canal. And more blending. I think that's good for this second hour of my stream. Got one more hour to go, but it's basically break time. So once again, I am going to go stretch, move around, rest my eyes. Everyone, please take the opportunity to do the same. I'm going to turn on my Be Right Back and mute my mic. Be back in 5. everyone, I am back. I hope you had a great break. Time to finish the marker work on Chibi Moo Latte. At this rate, we have little less than an hour left in this stream, so we might be able to get it done in one stream, which would be awesome. Can't always do that. Sometimes I need, actually, half the time I need 2 streams to get a chibi caricature done, but making really good time on this one. So let's leave the ears be. Let's start adding those dark brown spots. So I definitely want to use warm gray. What is the lightest warm gray color I'm seeing on this reference image? As with markers, you definitely want to start light to dark. You cannot take it back once you put the dark marker on the page. So either 7 or 6. 7 or 6. But I will be doing colored pencil on top. So the really lightest areas of fur I'm seeing, I think I can use colored pencils to bring that in. So let's go with the warm gray 7. And since I wanted the more subtle shading shift, I'll get out 8 and 9 as well. So 7, 8, and 9. W, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, we'll start with the lightest color, of course. And I think we'll start from the tail and just move up. Move up because it's Moo Latte. Okay, so first the tail, which goes all the way into her hips and onto her legs too. So actually I'll make a line right here. It's not a straight, perfectly round one. It's just a little bit farther down on this side and comes up a little higher over here. Something like this. And then this is all that darker fur color. It goes all the way down the curly Q too. The tip of the tail, like the second half of the tail, is white. First half is black, second half is white. I'm gonna do the big spots first because she got some big spots, but then she also has some littler spots in between and even lines of spots. So let's do the big ones first and then fit those little ones in between. So the next one is on her side. Something like this. And then there's a big one here on her lower back. A very nice oval shape. There's another relatively big one coming in from the opposite side. And then there's a huge patch here. And actually this is where the second reference image is going to come in super handy so I can see how it wraps around the body now, since she lost her front leg, so it's a slightly different shape without the arm there. So it's just, there's this teeny tiny little line of white fur in between, and it comes around like this. Alright, so let's go back to the other picture. Comes around up. And then since her head is so big, there is a big space of white on her neck and then another spot here on her neck. But the chibi head is so big that that's all hidden. So this one will be the final spot that we draw on her body. zooming back in on the main reference that I'm using, she does have some distinct spots on her head, here on her ear, and above her eye. This one, I don't know if it's the way the light's hitting it. I'm going to do it with hatching. It goes all the way down to the corner of the eye. There's another one on top of her head. Right here. And of course, her nosy, black, at most dogs. With a little bit of extra black fur around it too. Bottom lip definitely nice and dark. Most dogs have black lips. And let's use this color to color in the eyes as well. Which is going to make her look even more alive as this chibi version. She's coming to life. She's coming to life. I'm looking now at the ear that's more in shadow. Thinking about whether I want to use this color. I think I will. For this part where it's really dark as it's going into the ear canal. Maybe we'll use the T3 on top of it to blend it with the pink. Because it really is super shady and dark, so. But we've still got that pink underneath showing through. Oh, I wonder. I do enjoy being able to know a little bit of the story behind the pet. So I'm so glad to know that this pet is named Moo Latte. She's 15. She survived cancer. I don't know if it feels like I know them on a personal level, but I do feel like it helps to just know a little bit about them as I'm drawing them, because it's a kind of an intimate thing to draw someone, whoever they are. I mean, I've noticed that it's not until I draw, so I would say it's like for instance, I do a chibi caricature of a friend or family member of them as a human chibi. And then I realized that even though I've known them my whole life, or whatever it is, I never noticed that their ears were quite this shape, or their nose turned slightly to the left, or, something like that. So you definitely get to know their physical features more closely. So let's take this W7, make a little bit more shading on this side of the nose. Is so shaded. The other side is catching quite a lot of highlight. Or it's catching lots of light so that it has more highlight. I don't know how to state that properly. It's proper grammar. Oh, thank you! Yay! I'm so glad you think so! Yeah, it's so rewarding as the chibi comes to life And then the final touches with the white ink is going to be, it's the best part. It's so fun. We'll see if we can get to that point today. We might need a little bit of extra time with another stream next week, but we'll see. So I don't like to rush. I like to do it right. So if we need a little bit extra time during next week's stream, then we'll do that. I'm often honored with the comment, "It looks done already," but then you just keep making it even better. So that's my MO. Always take it really, really far. But then I'm very happy. I'm not satisfied if I only go halfway. Let's go all the way. So on the tail, I'm actually going to shade for the sake of the drawing and not, this is not what I'm seeing in the reference image. So the way the chibi tail, in order to make it work, the curve is slightly different than in the reference. So I'm leaving this little bit highlight and shade here, just so there's some more dimension as the tail curls in space. And it's great having these shaded parts for the white fur, because then I can use that to inform the shading, like right here where I made it match the shape of the shadow that was already there. And especially is helpful for a chibi because I'm changing so much about the proportions. And some of the anatomy actually gets left out because of the weird proportions and stuff like that. Let's add a little bit more inside the ear here. It's just it's so shadowy in that ear. Hey, you're saying the same thing. It does look finished. That's good though. So then for some reason, if I'm doing some project and I really do have to rush, then I know there's like a few steps that I can do some shortcuts to meet the deadline or whatever. Luckily, I don't work to deadlines right now, so I don't have to worry about that, but okay. Doing the third layer of shading on black spots. Inside of the nose is something, I might even just put ink on this. The inside of the nose and the pupils are the two areas where I want to put actual black, because all four of those things are actually holes going into the head. The pupils are holes that let the light in. The nostrils let the air in. So there's just the few areas where true black color would actually be, I think, is actually appropriate. Now let's do a little bit of dots here. So I'm kind of seeing them. Dogs have these little dots where their whiskers grow out. So I'll add those on here. Even a couple on the outside. Let's do some more using the lighter colors. Ah, my markers are trying to run away. They're trying to roll away off the desk. No, markers, stay here. You're not done yet. And something I haven't done yet, I've done all the shading and stuff, but there are all these little smaller spots in between the big ones. So let's get those, especially around this oval spot on the back. There's almost 2 lines of spots. Let's add those. Of course, it won't be 100% accurate to life, but just getting the impression of it in is enough for the chibi. And then again over here. Some just like growing off on this side. A stray couple there. One there. And there's not too many around this spot. And then of course there are some in that band of white, but it's being covered by the giant chibi heads, so we won't see those. But on these folds of skin here, here's a few. And a couple on this ear. And maybe one, it's hard to tell if it's a spot or if it's just shadow, but let's just say it's a spot here and a spot here. Actually, we're going to bring this a little bit more shadow color right here. Okay, there's the dark parts of the lips that you can see on either side. I'll add those in there. One there, one there. So I'm just looking around, seeing if there's any more areas I might like to go to a lighter warm gray color, because there's some spots that are actually mostly white fur, which is a little bit of black fur. So if we do a lighter warm gray color, we can show those. So let's go to W5. Just about in the middle. It's like right here. Aoife's heaving a big sigh again. This is also good for around the nose here. It's hard to tell how much is shading and how much is fur color. It doesn't matter too much in the end. So just make it look right by combining all the different colors of marker. There's another area where is it shading? Is it a spot? Well, let's just draw it. This doesn't matter too much, as long as it's darker shade. So yeah, I am going to, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to get my Graphic 1 ink pen out and ink in the nostrils and the pupils, so that they're a nice pure black color. Adding pupils, even though I can't see pupils in the reference, adding them to the chibi really makes it come to life. There's one. And before I add the highlights, it does kind of give it like a dead, dead fish eyes, but when we add that highlight, it's going to be like, ah, she's alive. That's literally what I say every time when I put the highlight in at the end. I think that's good. That's good for now. A little bit more on this side. I always say that's good, and then I keep drawing it. No, I'm really happy now. So we've got those pupils in there. We're actually getting really close to done. We've got about 34 minutes left. I'm now looking it over for any areas I might want to do more marker work, but I think we're at the point we can switch to colored pencils for those final details of fur texture and more subtle shading on the fur. And then do my favorite thing, which is add purple colored pencil into any area with shadow, and it's just, it pops. It's so awesome. So, anything else I want to do with marker? I guess her nose isn't, it's looking kind of flat in the drawing compared to what I'm seeing in the reference. So let's take this a bit farther. Give it more dimension. Right, getting a little more bold with the shading, basically. That's how we're going to do that. Oh, yep, instantly better. Excellent. It's kind of just looking back and forth. I guess what I could do, since by adding pupils, I've now depicted the irises. So let's add a little shading to the eyes. And I realize I have not colored the inner corners of the eyes. I think they're probably going to be the same pinkish color. It's hard to tell in this image, but I think let's just use that same pinkish color from the ears. I'll make her look more alive too. There's the darker color, pink. Just use that for a little shadow on this side, on the left-hand side. And then just like in the ear, let's add some gray to this side since it's in shadow. Tone down the pink, but the pink is still there, showing through, making it look different from the other areas that are only gray. W5. Just a little touch of W7 right here. Well, Chibi Moo Latte, are you ready for colored pencils? I think you are. Let's go. Okay, move my markers over. Don't need this swatch book anymore. And I got your big, I'm going to set them here for now. My big kit. While I pull over my little mobile workstation thing so that I can set the colored pencils on top of it. Alright. Alright, opening that up Now we can sit down again. If I angle this different, I can look at it closer, but not be casting so much of a shadow. I guess I'll keep it like that. Just talking about my little camera. Okay, that's all right, I guess. Okay, first thing. Zooming out on my reference image. Let's zoom back in. Let's work on the fur a little bit. The transition in some areas between the dark fur and the light fur is more subtle than what the markers can depict. So let's try this one. This is the warm gray, 50%, so that's like the middle color. Let's see about. Oh, it's pretty dark. So let's go to warm gray. What's this one? 20%. Let's try warm gray 20%. I'm adding this anywhere I'm seeing that halo effect around the spots where the white fur and the black fur are mixing. And little spots here too. Super subtle spots on this back leg. And a few on this one too. This is a great color for blending here. Sort of blends and evens out the marker. And of course it adds that nice texture that makes it seem more like fur texture. It's not exactly the same as fur texture, but oh. Oh. That's so nice that she lets you give her a hug. Yep. Yep. That's funny. That's very cat-like too, wanting attention, but only if you're busy with something else. That's how my cat Kiki is. If I'm just sort of hanging out, not doing much, just watching a show or something, she's not interested in sitting on me or anything. But if I'm working on something and my studio door is open, she comes right in, she's in my face, she's like, pay attention to me, meowing, sitting in front of my monitor so I can't see. It's funny how pets are like that. If your attention is on them, they're like, well, that's good enough. If it's not on them, they're like, hey, attention for me. Well, I hope you can go see Moo Latte sometime soon. I don't think you can hear it on stream. It's very quiet, but Aoife, my big dog, seems to be having an eating dream. So her tongue is sticking out, and she's going... Okay, I'm gonna go to this darker pencil. Add little touches here and there where I'm seeing darker shadows. This is so funny. When her mom wants to cuddle, she's like, nope. It's so endearing, though. Even getting rejected. Getting rejected is endearing, too. I'm just looking back and forth. Where does it look like we need a little bit more shading or a little bit more transition color? It's like right here would be nice to smooth the transition between the darker and lighter grays of this patch. And let's take this lighter pencil and add a little bit more here too. I think we can even go to one of the darker pencils. This is the darkest one in the warm gray of my pencils. Use them on the spots, especially where the head is covering, casting a shadow. This will be the strongest shadow outside of the nostrils and the pupils. Maybe a little bit extra here though. A tiny bit on the head, top of the head, spot here. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'll allow it. Oh, Sketchy Dude, welcome. Thank you for joining me. It's a long time no see. I'm allowing Gothic Valentine's message. I have this strong filter on because I want my streams to be welcoming to everyone, so. But you're not calling someone a jerk who's on stream, so. That is so tricky. How clever. Moo Latte is a clever dog. Sketchy, how are you? So glad you could join me. I don't remember if I asked you how you are. The dog looks like it did something mischievous. I just actually read your message. I saw your name and got so excited. I didn't actually read your message. Aw, she's just a sweetie. She didn't do anything other than trick her mom out of a spot on the couch. Oh, I just got off of work. Hope you had a good day at work. Or at least I hope you're enjoying it now that you're off. Able to relax. Chill out. You have the weekend off? I'm looking forward to my weekend off. It's actually going to be the start of my 4th of July vacation week, so I won't be streaming next week. I'm taking the week off. Okay, do we need any more fur pencils? Ooh, I remember. I wanted to add some highlights on the dark fur. And I actually wanted to use something a little bit more brown. What about something like this? This is called French Gray. 50%. I don't know if that's light enough. It's also not brown enough. Hold on. I gotta go to a different layer of my 4 layers of colored pencils in here. Maybe something like this. Burnt ochre. Oh, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so you gotta rest up good today for this last couple days push, right? Okay, I'm just adding a tiny, hopefully this will be subtle enough, just a tiny touch of this brown. And I think I'll mix some of these warm grays on top. Because these patches, it's especially right here and here, the sun is hitting it so strongly, it really does have a brown tint. A brown hue. But let's tone it down just a bit with these grays. Just a little bit. Boop. Oh, yeah. Sweet. Well, let's add a little bit into the eyes. I don't know for sure if her eyes are brown, but since they're so dark in the photos, I have a feeling they're probably brown. So we'll just add this tiny little bit, just to give some life to the eyes, since they're otherwise colored in with gray. Then do the same thing. Rain it in with some gray colored pencil on top. And the darker color toward the edge of the iris. There, nice. And actually, what I really like to do on eyes is right next to the pupil, where the iris is actually curving in, and that's how the pupil is able to open and close. It curves in. Add a touch of highlight, although this is not sharp enough. So where's my sharpener? There we go. Oh, I don't mind at all. I live in Idaho. Is there a particular reason why you wanted to know? Yeah, I posted on all of my oh, you're in the state that always gets confused with Idaho. Ever since Star Trek Generations, I've known about that. People can't tell the difference between Idaho and Iowa, because that's what happened. The story that I've heard is that, oh, what's the guy who plays Captain Kirk? Anyway, Captain Kirk's line was supposed to be, "This is my uncle's farm in Iowa." But he ends up just saying it's my uncle's farm in Idaho. So now Idaho is in Star Trek Generations, one of my favorite Star Trek movies of all time, by accident. because our states get confused. Why is it sadly, though? Oh, yeah, William Shatner. Thank you. Why is it sadly? This is my favorite sharpener because I don't have to keep turning the pencil. I just hold it and it's called ratchetta, so you just ratchet it. And it sharpens. So I'm getting little eraser, or not erasers, sharpener bits. Okay, this time the lead didn't break off, so good. I can actually use this. Love this ratchetta sharpener. I'll just set that there. And some little sharpener bits came out onto the page, so I'm going to swipe that into the trash can. Yeah, Sketchy, you should have heard me yesterday. I could not remember all the names of the Star Wars movies. Exy had to help me. I kept getting, I kept calling Revenge of the Sith Rise of the Sith, so I was mixing two titles together. Oh, you don't even, you even know that tidbit. Oh no! Well, at least that's a nice big clue. Nice big indication about someone's general awareness of stuff. That's interesting. Yeah, man, Idaho potatoes too. That's like a registered trademark. We have a restaurant here that wanted to call themselves Idaho Potato Company, because they just serve lots of potato stuff, mostly French fries. And they got sued or had a cease and desist or something from the Idaho Potato Commission because it's a trademark, Idaho Potato. So they eventually decided to call themselves Boise Fry Company. So that's where they got started. I don't know if they're outside of Boise yet. I'm pretty sure they have a few restaurants here at least. Anyway, so that's funny. Oh, okay. Didn't ask for any particular reason. Yep, I'm over here in Idaho. Not quite the Pacific Northwest. Not quite the Midwest. We're in this weird middle zone. I guess we're just the Northwest. But it doesn't even feel like... I mean, we're west of the center of the country. Okay. So I've added that little highlight by the pupil that I was talking about. Just subtle, not a really bright one, not like what the final little touches are going to be. I did all that sharpening just so I could get that sharp tip to make it a nice fine line. Oh, really? Who produces the most potatoes? I have heard that Idaho potatoes are, this of course could just be potato propaganda, but I've heard that Idaho is really great, has great soil for growing potatoes, so maybe that's why, but maybe it's also just really great propaganda from the Potato Commission. It was super interesting when I went to Japan last year, and sometimes the people I met there would ask me where I was from, and I'd say Idaho, and I did not expect them to know what I was talking about. I was expecting to have to figure out how to explain, because I was practicing my Japanese as I was speaking to them, so trying to speak in Japanese. They knew Idaho. They're like, oh, potatoes. And I was like, yes. So even in Japan, Idaho potatoes are known. Oh, yeah. Yes, it's exactly the same, I think. The champagne thing. Oh, and Iowa is the same with the corn. Potatoes and corn go together really good. Yep, we're good buddies now. Corn, potatoes, boom. Idaho produces more beets than potatoes. Interesting. Well, but if you don't have a big commission behind you to advertise it, then people won't know. Okay, I'm going to get out the actual black colored pencil to do a little bit of detail on the nosy. Mostly what I want to add is that little sort of speckled or rough texture that all dog nosies have. So I'm doing little dots. Get this texture in. I'll also add a little bit more where I think it needs more shading. That's probably good. Maybe a little bit more. Like I said, I always say it's good, and then I keep going. Okay, now it's good. Yeah, I imagine they must, since I was like blown away. I was so happy. I don't know why else they'd know Idaho potatoes, unless it's Western pop culture is just as popular in Japan as it is in America, so maybe they have seen it in shows and stuff, you know, like sitcoms and stuff. So who knows? I didn't ask. I wasn't like, how do you know that? How do you know about our potatoes? Okay. I want to add a little something on top of this ear. This one is looking a little too pink because it's still in shadow, even though it is supposed to be fairly pink. So maybe I'll just actually use one of these grays. Just tone it down a little bit. No, it's not really working. It's not enough of a tone down. So let's use a darker one. See if that'll help. So when I'm looking at the whole image, this ear is just like standing out, and this part of the face should be the focus. So let's tone down this pink a little bit. All right, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yay. Yeah, Iwamizawa has the sister cities with. I don't know if there are any other Japanese sister cities with other Japanese, or with other Idaho cities, but definitely Pocatello, Iwamizawa have that connection. But I didn't go anywhere near Iwamizawa this time, so I'm not sure. I want this darker one. Bring back the really dark contrast here where the ear canal is preventing any light showing. Yeah, that's way better. That's way better. Much more subtle. Let's do the same thing over here, actually. So now this one looks too bright. And also, this little spot, I need to add a little more shadow where the ear is folded over. There's this really dark piece of shadow on this side, too. Didn't add it in before with marker. It is fun when my chibis have to go over 2 streams, because that's what happens. The beginning of one stream is totally different, even though it's the same project from one to the next, though. It helps me too if I get that break, because sometimes your brain just gets tired of looking at it. Like, not like you're bored of it, but like you can't really process what it's looking like anymore. And so being able to take a break, that's part of the reason why I always take regular breaks while I'm streaming. Though the main reason is because of my back, but. Oh, I think I'm ready to do my favorite fun thing with the colored pencils. And it's great because we only have 9 minutes left. And if I can get that done and then do the ink, we can finish this in a single stream. So, my favorite thing to do, take the purple colored pencil and add it to everywhere with shadows. Just makes it so vibrant. Just adding this single color. It's true. That's funny. I never would have thought of that, even though I play Animal Crossing almost every single day. It looks like KK Slider. Yeah. Yeah, especially the head shape from Animal Crossing. That's funny. I'm going to get my next KK concert tomorrow. I'm trying to get the 60, I think it's 60 KK concerts. It's hard because you can only get one a week. So if you miss one, you either got to time travel, which ironically I don't have time for. I only have a little bit of gaming time most days. Or another issue that can pop up is it's an event and then you forget that you have to do the KK concert on a different day. For instance, last Saturday was one of the bug events. So the KK concert wasn't until Sunday. So if you forget, then you miss the concert then as well. Yeah. Yep, now we know. This is what KK would look like. That's so funny. I'm glad we all know who KK is. Yay! Yeah, my cat Kiki is black and white, like I said earlier. She's so cute. And my mom always had a thing. She always had to have a black and white cat. I don't know why. She just always had a black and white cat since she was a kid. And so whenever the cat would pass away, she would go to the shelter to find another black and white cat to adopt. So I added a little bit of purple to the pupil, but I'm also bringing the black back, so we're just gonna have it mixed in there. I want the purple to be subtle. I love it if folks don't notice it until they've looked at the piece for a little while. Like it's a reward. If it just blends in and you can't even tell it's there until you take a closer look, that's what I'm going for. Actually, I'm noticing a little bit around this eye, and I need to add some shading. So I'm going to go back to this warm gray pencil and add that in. I am playing forever. Yeah. The skeletons of your citizens. I'm sure they've been fine without you. You ever need any recipes? I collect the recipe cards to see if my sister needs them. So just let me know. Chibi skulls literally. It's so dark. Actually, they do have a skeleton item in there, so. I haven't been in years. Gothic Valentine also hasn't been in a long time. Yep. Yeah, and your house gets full of them. You have to smush them. It's sad. Like, I don't want to have to smush them. I just want to usher them outside. You have no choice. Yeah, they have, well, for one, they have like the medical skeleton that you'd see like in school. But they also have like a Halloween item where it's just like a piled up skeleton covered in moss that you can put on the ground. So yeah, they do. They do have skeletons. Well, if it takes me a little bit longer, I'm so close to done. I want to finish this on one stream, so I might stream for a few extra minutes. So I'm loving chatting with y'all, so I'm getting happily distracted. So this is so close to done. My streams are 3 hours long now, so we do not need that much time to finish this. Okay. And I had enough purple. I think I need a little bit more over here. Forgot that this is not the color of the fur. This is actually shadow cast by the head onto the body. So I need to make sure to get the purple into the lighter part too. Yep. Maybe a little bit more on this side of the face. Definitely inside the ears. Alright, let's say that's good for colored pencil, which means we just need one final thing. Gotta get up again, get my white ink and a little tiny brush. So I'm in my closet. Here's my white ink. I gotta go on the other side of the closet. Is this my tiny brush? Yes, this is one of them. No way, no way. I love it when it's a chatty stream because it helps me so much. Sometimes it's really hard to stay focused when it's ironic. It's harder to stay focused for a long period when you don't have some small distraction to give you a break. So I'm actually very grateful to have y'all in the chat. It always makes for me at least, makes for a very enjoyable stream. So I'm just going to mute my mic for a second while I go get some water because this ink is super thick. So I've got to water it down in order to get it to apply smoothly on this page. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Oh yes, I do take commissions to do chibis, though as you can see it takes quite a long time, so I've found that a lot of people think my prices are a bit steep. So just fair warning, because sometimes it does actually take me 2 full streams, and so that's 6 hours. That's what I was telling you in the email. That's how I know how long it takes, because I stream most of my work. But yes, I do. So if you're interested, there are 2 ways you could order one, I'll just put a link in the chat for the one that you can get through Square, because that's the first place I ever listed them. You can also get them on DeviantArt. So if you prefer DeviantArt, you can find my page on DeviantArt. They're available there too. But I think this will take you there. So there's that. But yeah, it takes me a long time, so the prices reflect that. No pressure, of course. Thank you for asking, though. I appreciate it. Your interest alone is very heartening. Okay, so first I'm just getting some ink out of the pot. And I've actually got this well where I got a little bit of water in it, so that's a little bit too much. Oh, I spilled some there too. It's too much water in those wells. Let's get a dry well, because I just need a little bit of water to make it flow. I don't want it to be totally watered down. So yeah, this is better. Okay. We don't need to add it too many places. I'm thinking just the eyes, cute little shinies in the eyes, and then definitely on the nosy, because she's clearly got a nice, healthy, moist doggy nosy. Oh, the other dog is brown. Oh, but lots of different brown. What's the oddest thing you've been asked to make, Chibi? Probably, I was sort of dared to make a chibi hornet, the giant Japanese hornet. I don't think I was able to make, I've never chibified a bug before, and I realized that I did the opposite. With bugs, you have to do the opposite of what you do with mammals. So mammals, you make everything, you make the head big, the body small. But I realized for doing that chibi, bugs are already like that. Their heads are already like the size of their bodies practically. So if I were to do the Japanese giant hornet again, I would make the head smaller and more simplified. And I bet I could make it cute this time. I think the one that I made before was, I think it looked cool, but it didn't look cute. And the point of chibi to me is make it look cute, so. But it was a good lesson. So now I know how to make bugs, chibi. Just like I said, adding that white ink. Look at this, she's alive now. She's alive now, Chibi. Moo Latte is alive. Gothic Valentine. Don't know what it's called. Fur is like tipped with black. I think it depends, but on with Shiba Inus, that fur color is called, I can't remember anymore. It's super rare, and everybody always thinks their Shiba Inu is that, but it's not because it's so rare. I can't remember either what it's called. Well, the nice thing is with my chibis, I don't remember one ever taking longer than 2-3 hour streams. I think the average is 3 to 4 hours. Regardless of subject. Regardless of how detailed it is, or whether it's a human or a different kind of animal. Oh, you recall a rather odd request. Well, my favorite Artist Alley commission that I did was, and so maybe this is what you're thinking, it was Link slicing Edward Cullen in half. Both chibis. So do I charge by the hour? I don't charge by the hour, but I do use the amount of hours worked to help inform my pricing so that I'm making sure to value my time properly. So no matter how long a chibi takes, it'll still cost the same. But yeah, because if I did it by hour, then I would have to specifically time, and then I wouldn't want anyone being like, hey, you charged me 3 hours, but I watched your stream and you were chatting half the time, so I want my money back, because I don't want to deal with anything like that. So not saying you'd do that, but just in case anyone else is a stickler. Chibi wardrobe malfunction. I do remember doing. I've actually done more than one chibi like that, but I don't have them publicly displayed for obvious reasons. So, yeah, I have done some like that. So I'm adding more highlights to the eyes than what are actually there, and I always do this because it just makes it extra cute. I think that's enough. So let's add these nice highlights on the nosy to show that it's nice and wet and healthy. And I'm doing lots of dots because, again, of that texture that dog noses have. And I'll actually do a little tiny touch on this side of the nose too. It's catching a little extra light. And that's so nice. It brings the nose forward and helps with that 3D effect. Anywhere else I want some white ink, or is that good? We are 7 minutes over normal stream time. Sketchy. I thought it was just the one. No, I've done it. At least 2 or 3. Both male and female. So, yeah. Yeah. Gothic Valentine, good point. That's another reason. That's another reason why. And I have had people back out after I've done work. So I know I have to have payment first. Sketchy. The highlights add so much to the piece. It's so true. I love doing the highlights. It's the most rewarding part. You do all the work to get to that point. And I think that this is done now, so I'm just going to sign it. Use my 08 micron pen. 24. Yay! If I can put my pen away. There. Yeah, dog noses are weird. They look spongy. Yeah, they have that interesting, it's like it's not even exactly a leathery texture. It's just this unique doggy texture. But I bet that's how their noses stay moist. Something about that is how they're able to get moisture to come out and keep it moist. Why are micron pens so expensive? Are they super expensive now? I haven't had to buy any in a while, so. But they're so expensive because they're so good. I've used so many, I talked about this earlier in the stream, I've used so many brands. But they are the best. I love them so much. There was even a point where I was thinking of moving away from them because I like brush pens so much, but nope, I was like, what was I thinking? Back to my favorite micron pens. Oh, yay! So glad you think so. Let me hold it up closer. Here she is. Chibi Moo Latte has come to life. Let me it focused on its own. Yay, thank you, camera. Here's the close-up look. There she is. Little cutie with her cute little corkscrew piggy tail. In the middle of coming up to start wagging. And her cute little eyes and her cute little nosy. And you can see, I think, that nice purple shows up really well in the camera when the light hits it. But when you hold it like this far away, it just sort of blends in and becomes part of the piece. Yay, I'm so glad we could get this done in one stream. So, without further ado, let's find somebody to raid. Yay, thank you, thank you. She has a happy tail? What does that mean? So I'm just going to look for somebody to raid. Who we got? Oh, Just Freebird is on. We're going to go raid Just Freebird. So let me move this stuff. Keep the little camera on Chibi Moo Latte while I get my... Alright, we'll move this over here though. While I get my keyboard out of here. You're welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that the winner of this auction could. Oh, thank you for the follows, everybody. Svami, thank you for following. Also, Gothic Valentine, you followed me yesterday, so thank you, thank you. Oh, poor puppy. She wags her tail so much as it bleeds. Poor puppy. She's just too happy. Oh, wax it against everything. I've heard of that before. Aw. She's just so happy she can't help it. Let's see, I'm going to open a new Twitch tab so that I can raid. I can raid from where I watch the chat, but it doesn't take me to the raid, so I can never be sure that it's actually working, which I don't like that. So let's start the raid /raid. Just _ Freebird. Spelled that right? Yeah. Aw, she loves everyone. That's so good. She looks like she would. Okay, the raid is starting. So while the countdown is going, let me thank you again for joining me, making this an awesome final stream of June. Also, this, I didn't mention it, this is 100 Chibi Fridays. Yay! Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me for this momentous occasion. Do I have to upload to YouTube later? Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do after we raid. So, I will have that link. I'll send the link to you when it's ready. I'll email it to you. All right, everyone. It's time to go. Let's go raid Just Freebird. All right, the raid worked. So if you're still on my channel now or watching the recording later, that's it for me today. I'm taking next week off for the holiday, so I'll be back in 2 Wednesdays with an illustration stream. Hope to see you then, and thank you for watching.